Welcome to Sailing Saoirse. I'm Tegan. My parents sold our house, sold their business, and bought a 38-foot island spirit catamaran with the goal to travel the world. This is Colbin, my husband, Karen, my mum, Denver, my brother, and Robin, my dad. Together we make up Sailing Saoirse. After spending 7 months travelling north up the Caribbean island chain, we decided it was time to start making our way back down south for hurricane season. Sadly, this marked the end of our journey. It is a lot sooner than we had expected it to be, but life happens and it was time to start a new chapter. Antigua was a beautiful final destination for us where we spent quite a few weeks, but it was time to turn Saoirse around and start heading back down south. I'm feeling really emotional. Sorry, I just had to stop that and stop crying. On to new things. We are headed south to Trinidad. Our first stop is Guadeloupe for the night. It should take us about 12 hours to get there. The sea state's a bit bumpy, but nothing new to us at this stage. We're doing a good 5.5 to 6 knots of speed, so hopefully we just get there before dark. The dolphins came out to play for a good few minutes and surfed with us on the bow. It was smooth sailing the closer we got to Guadeloupe, and then we headed down to the bay just off of Pigeon Island for the night.
Day 2 of our trip back south. We made it because it's such a still morning. We're heading from Guadeloupe to Dominica today.
As we headed down the coast of Guadeloupe, the seas were flat and beautiful in the lee of the island, but as we entered the open water on the south of the island, things got really hairy. The swell, waves and wind were 3 times what was predicted, and over the VH radio we heard about 5 boats communicating with each other to start reefing their mainsails and genoas because the gusts were coming out of nowhere. After making a good attempt but getting absolutely beaten up out there, we decided to turn around and head back to the Saints for the night.
Okay, take 2. The Saints to Dominica yesterday was terrible.
Like mighty terrible. So much so that it was the first time we actually turned back from anywhere. Just get this coming up off anchor at the moment. Fear and trepidation. Got this.
Everyone's waiting in anticipation to see what lies outside of the confined walls of the Saints and see if we're going to face what we faced yesterday again. What really worried us was that the prediction was the same the next day as the day before, but luckily when we got out, it was a absolutely beautiful sail. Great wind, great direction, the swell wasn't too bad, and we were getting some pretty good speed for Saoirse. We stopped in Rousseau for the night. It was a little bit hairy because we grabbed a mooring ball that was designated to us by a mooring ball guy, and it was really close to shore and the dock. But he seemed to think that we'd be absolutely fine because the winds blew in one direction only, according to him, and we did swing a little bit close during the night, but we had put out a fender. We headed out of Rousseau first thing in the morning and headed down as south as we could get in Martinique before dark. We anchored for the night and headed straight to St. Lucia the next morning. We did try to fish along the way, but as per usual, the sargasso weed was out of control and just kept getting stuck on all our lures. We read and heard many mixed reviews about St. Lucia, and it kind of kept us on our toes for the night, but we stayed in the pittons, and it was incredible, so beautiful to see, and the water was beyond anything we could have ever imagined. It was so blue. We did do anchor watch all night just to make sure, because the crime in St. Lucia has been on the rise for the last few years. We stayed at Anse des Pitons. I could be saying that completely wrong, but it is between the big and the small piton. It is part of the marine reserve, so you have to take a mooring ball, which costs about $20 a night or 54 ECs. The only downside about the pitons is the katabatic winds that flow down the mountain at quite a speed. So every now and then you suddenly get a wild burst of wind come through, but we held pretty strong on the mooring balls there. The rangers were great and super friendly, really nice to chat to, and just very welcoming to St. Lucia. We had a cocktail or two before heading to bed that night, because how could you not when you were sitting in a bay that was just so beautiful. St. Lucia is a stop we never ever thought we would make in our journeys north or south of the Caribbean because of its bad reputation at the moment, but we took precautionary measures and we felt pretty safe being there for one night. As we were approaching Carriacou, we caught a beautiful little fish for dinner. Then Colbin filleted it and shared it with some seagulls. Typical Saoirse style, forever feeding the animals. After spending the night in Carriacou and visiting some very special friends, Hattie and Phil, we headed down to Grenada, trying to get there before a little system was coming through. As we were approaching Grenada, we caught a fish again. So definitely the southern part of the Caribbean islands is the place to fish.
Here you go.
We checked into Grenada and anchored in Prickly Bay. We spent 3 nights there before heading down in our last leg of the trip south, down to Trinidad. We had an amazing dolphin sighting where they just swam with us for a good 20 minutes right next to the boat and on the bow of the boat, and they were huge dolphins, very different to what we were seeing up north in the Caribbean chain. A few miles off of Trinidad, we went double up on the fishing rod and the bungee, and we all kind of lost our minds. So we were trying to haul both of the fish in, only to be absolutely taxed by sharks. The sharks were just crazy. We could see them swimming in the waves behind the boat and just jumping away at the fish that were on the line.
Is it?
The boys are on the bungee.
So on, I've hooked up onto your rod. Cross over it.
There's a shark.
Bring it.
Oh, did it bite? And it's a tuna.
Sods. Took it in half.
And the half.
In half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a bonnie? Oh, that's fine.
I saw something drift underneath the boat as well as I was pulling.
But hang on a second, I'm still on over here.
Yeah, so you better get it in fast. Probably it. It's probably also a bonnie. Turn out of the wind.
We go too far up.
No, the fish is still fighting. No,
Taking everything but the end.
just the bloody edge. Unbelievable.
Colvin, just hold on. You don't want to be falling in the water here. We don't know. So this is what we were left with. Just quarter fish and half a fish. Shark attacks in Trinidad.
Don't fall in the water.
Don't fall overboard, yeah.
Hi guys, so this is just a quick little snippet to put into our video. Between our crossing from Grenada to Trinidad, we had a bit of a sticky situation. We had left at 5 a.m. just as the sun started coming up, and our buddy boat Calypso with Andrew, Siobhan and Laura on it had left an hour before us. So we headed out, and it was great sailing, a great day, lots of dolphin sightings, and everyone knows that between Grenada and Trinidad it used to be quite a volatile territory because of the oil rigs that are dead between Trinidad and Grenada. There were a few piracy incidents over the years, but there hadn't been since 2019. A lot of people choose to do the crossing at night so that they can go dark and switch off all their systems and lights, and other boats around can't see them. But we heard of many sailors crossing during the day, so we thought that would be better. It's just better because you can see the sea state around you. So we headed off, and as we started approaching the oil rigs, we were being very vigilant. All of us were on watch. We did see 2 fishing boats approaching on the horizon, and we didn't think much of it. We weren't stressing, we were just keeping a really close eye on them. And one passed Calypso and went in a completely different direction to us. And then one was on the horizon and it was going quite fast. It was quite a big one. And we just kept a close eye on him. And as he was getting closer and closer, a few miles off of us, he was coming at us, we were coming at him, and we suddenly thought he's doing quite a speed. We tried to radio him and he wasn't on AIS. There was no response, so we just kept a close eye on him, and each mile he got closer and closer, and his bow was just pointing straight at our bow. And we thought, okay, so let's try veer off track. So we veered and they veered with us, and we were like, okay. So we veered, we left it for about 5 minutes, we veered again, they veered with us. So their nose was pointing directly at our nose the entire time. Every time we moved, they moved. So we radioed Andrew on Calypso, and we said, because it had just passed them, we said, how was it, how did he pass you, was everything fine? And he said, yep, no threat. He passed a little bit close, but not anything scary. So we ended up watching him, and he got closer and closer until eventually it was getting really scary. We did a huge turn, and as we did that, he did it with us. And Calypso radioed us and said, it looks like he's getting really, really close. I'm keeping an eye on you guys. And we just stayed on the radio the whole time. Well, my mom was on the radio, I was grabbing the flares, because I was like, how do we do anything about this? What do we do? So my immediate thought was, just shoot flares at them. If they start coming towards us, we shoot flares. So yeah, he just approached us nose on until probably 30 meters away from us, he suddenly veered, and he passed about 20 meters off our starboard bow. And we were just like, we were all sitting there, like the boys were all out. We just wanted them to see that we had as much manpower as possible out on the decks. And as they passed us, they just all stood there like watching us from their boat, and we were so confused. We're like, okay. So they passed us and we just kept an eye on them. We were so scared they were going to do a loop and come back to us, but they did just pass us and they carried on going, which it was just unbelievable. The amount of turning we did, and they just turned with us the entire time for about 20 minutes. So yeah, we think that maybe because they know that cruisers are so wary of that area, maybe it's a fun game for them to play, like try and scare the cruisers. So yeah, that's just a little warning of what happened. It was such a great video that we had. It was so suspenseful, and we had videoed the whole thing and how close they got to the side of the boat. But yeah, somehow we lost that while we were packing up the boat, packing up Saoirse and moving. So yeah, just a warning to any sailors doing that crossing, just be very vigilant. It is a fishing boat that we have seen in Trinidad before, in the last season that we were there. So it is a Trinidad-based boat, but yeah, they didn't do anything, so there's not much to report to the Coast Guard or anything. But yeah, just stay vigilant, and I don't know, it's probably a better thing that we did it in the day and we could see that coming, because at night he didn't have AIS, he wasn't answering his radio, so I think that could be a very, very stressful situation. And it is also very common for people to do the crossing with a buddy boat, because like we did, we had the comfort of knowing someone was watching us. So yeah, just a little update for that little leg of the trip. That was the only really bad thing that happened, and a lot of people complain about the current and the swell and the sea state and everything, and we had a really, really great sail until a few miles off the shore of Trinidad. The seas got really confused and was bashing us around a bit, but as you got closer to the island, it just leveled out and it flattened out, and it was just beautiful approaching Trinidad again. It really did feel a little like home. So yes, a good sail. It was a good trip back south from Antigua down to Trinidad, which was our last sail as a family. Trying not to cry. Yeah, so it was a beautiful final trip for all of us. So just a little live update about what's happening in our lives. Because our videos are so delayed, Colin and I are in the BVIs working on a charter boat, lots of flies, and yeah, we don't have a lot of time to edit, so I'm just trying to edit in my free time as we go along. So we can't guarantee when the next videos will be up, but we do have, I think, 3 more videos to come. So just keep checking our pages. My mom has been home, so back to South Africa, got my dad settled, and then headed across to the UK for a month. Came back after that month, got home, and we decided that maybe they needed to do a trip to Zimbabwe, which is where my mom's side of the family is from. And we booked some flights for them, and they headed over there. And when they come back, then my mom will fly back out to South Africa, depending on some situations. Fly back out to Saoirse and probably take her up to St. Martin. Sorry, Coleman's outside snorkeling. I don't know what that noise was. Yeah, so she'll take the boat up to St. Martin, where our broker is. So we'll see how the following months unfold, but so far Saoirse is still on the market, and Denver is just living it up in Trinidad in the heat. It's been record-breaking heat this season, so not so fun for him. But yeah, so just a quick update, and stay tuned for more videos. There are a few more of us packing up Saoirse and just getting ready to go on our different ways. It's so weird because we've spent the last 2 years, 18 months together. As difficult as that was, no one wants to live with their family in their 20s, really. And then you put us on a tiny boat. Things got heated, but it's been 18 months of living in each other's pockets, and it's just very different now, and we really miss them. But yeah, we'll see them again soon, and hopefully maybe my mum will even bring the boat up to the BVRs when they come up this way. It's just down the road from St. Martin, so maybe we'll see them again then. But thank you for watching with us. Stay tuned for our next videos. Thanks so much, guys, for watching.